These are the 5 things I would do today if I wanted to grow my business ASAP, right now, this very moment. Now, I do want to say I believe in sustainable long-term business growth. We want to have a sustainable business. We don't just want quick results that we can't hold. But I do think there is a way to speed up the process of continuing to grow your business based on 2 things that I love to talk about, which is nervous system and feminine energy. Now, I will give you some strategy here as well, but I will always give you the nervous system feminine energy lens. I am myself right now in the middle of a launch of my program Embodied Business, which is a 4-month transformational program for the female entrepreneur who wants to regulate her nervous system, who wants to expand her business by going inwards and looking at the blockages that are holding you back from expanding. I love this program so much for so many reasons, and I was thinking of what are the things I am doing right now to grow, to share this amazing program, but also for people to know about it and for people to join. And so as I'm working on the launch and as I'm working on, putting myself out there, I thought I'm going to bring you on my journey and I'm going to share with you the things that I do that have really collapsed time in my business and has allowed me to grow quicker than I initially thought would be possible. The first thing that I always do, and I spoke about this in my 5-day magnetic money challenge. If you haven't been there, you can still sign up and get the recordings for a couple of days. So you will find the link down below. But I spoke about this in my 5-day magnetic money challenge, where every single time I want to expand my income or my growth in my business, I ask myself the current results that I have. How am I a match to the current results that I have? What I do by asking myself this question is I actually allow myself to take it a step further rather than, and this is what I see the majority of people do, rather than asking myself, what do I need to do to get where I want to get? I ask myself, how am I a match to my current results? The truth is, you are always a match to the reality that you're creating. We know this from the biggest manifestation teachers and mentors out there. They always talk about how your inner world is a mirror to your outer world, or vice versa, how your outer world is a mirror to your inner world. The results that you've created today, you are obviously a match to. So instead of asking myself, okay, I want to grow, what is it that I need to do? I ask myself, if I know that I am a match to my current results, who do I need to be instead in order for me to grow in my business, in order for me to increase my income? And so, for example, right now I'm making $2,000 a month. And I ask myself, okay, based on the results that I have, how am I a match to this? So I look at the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions that I have and that I take that have obviously created these results. I look at, what am I thinking every day? Like, what is my day-to-day thinking like? Am I thinking big thoughts? Am I thinking how someone who would be making $10,000 is, thinking? Or am I actually thinking smaller? Am I putting myself down? Am I doubting myself? By me getting very clear on how am I a match to my current results, it allows me to bring in the feminine energy. Now, why this is so important is because business can be so masculine energy, which again, I love it. I love it. You have to be willing to be in your masculine energy. You have to be willing to take aligned action. If you want big results, you gotta be willing to take action, which is the masculine energy. But what I love about bringing the feminine energy in is adding this different layer to looking at a business, to looking at yourself, to looking at the creation process. And so by asking ourselves this question, we are looking at both things. We're looking at, of course, the masculine, which is, okay, what actions am I taking that is creating that? But we're also looking at what is going on within me that is creating the current result, which then, knowing that I am right now a match to a current result, to the current results that I have, I ask myself, based on the results that I want to have instead, based on the goals that I aspire to have, who do I need to be instead, right? And then I reverse back engineer again. I ask myself, okay, based on that, I gotta think differently. I gotta act differently. I gotta feel differently. And so this is what I see a lot of people miss. They start their day thinking the same thoughts that were thinking yesterday, taking the same action that they were taking yesterday. If you keep thinking the same thoughts that you were thinking yesterday and keep taking the same action that you were taking yesterday and keep feeling the same way that you felt yesterday, guess what? You will keep creating the same thing today that you created yesterday. And so we got to break that pattern and really elevate ourselves to that level of the match that we want to attract. The second step, the second thing that I do is I think of my goal. And then I ask myself, what kind of capacity level do I need to be in to match this goal, to be able to hold this goal? And I'm also talking from my experience when I hit my highest cash month in my business and I did not do this work. I didn't even know what capacity meant at that time. I was just like, oh, well, let me just like make more money, which was great. But my capacity wasn't able to hold this and I wasn't capable of understanding what the success meant for me. So my body felt small while the success was big and I wasn't able to match that. And so what we got to do is we got to ask ourselves, well, of course, if I want to have $1 million business or whatever your goal is, your capacity needs to be able to match that. Think of it this way, and I spoke about this before. Right now, your capacity is like this container that, your current clients fit in, the income that you have fits in, the views that you have fit in. And this container, eventually, if you make more income, but this container, the size of the container stays the same, it's going to overflow. And so no matter how hard you work, no matter how much money you make, you're not going to be able to hold the level of success that you want to create. So instead, you got to increase the capacity. You got to increase that container so that when more comes in, you're able to hold this. And this is really why this work is important and how it's a nervous system piece. Why I talk about nervous system so much is because not only have I experienced this in my business, in my life, but I've seen it over and over again with all the entrepreneurs that I've been supporting on how much they want a certain level of success. But the moment they get somewhere or the moment they make more money, their nervous system literally contracts and they're not able to sustain the success or able to hold it or expand beyond that. And that's why the work with the nervous system is so incredibly important. The third thing that I do is I take aligned, bold moves while regulating and resting a lot. Now, I have this story that I want to share with you. I think it was like a couple of years ago. I was in the middle of a launch and I remember I was in Tenerife in Spain at that time. And I was, walking to the beach and I was working quite a lot at that time because I was in the middle of a launch and I had a free event happening and things like that. And I remember passing by this massage place. And this massage place, they came to me and they said, hey, we would like to offer you this 15-minute free massage, which was, of course, a tactic to get me in, to experience it, and to book, which I actually really appreciate. I love being able to taste, kind of, in a way, the massage, and then, of course, deciding if I wanted to have another massage or to book one. So anyways, I said, yes, of course, I had time, and they started massaging me, and then they did this forehand massage, which I've never experienced before. So I had literally two people massaging me at the same time, and they were mirroring their movement. And I was laying there, I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever experienced. Like, this is so relaxing. And so in the conversation, they asked me if I would like to book that, and they tell me the price. And I say yes. And then I leave, and I'm like, this was the most expensive massage I've ever booked for myself. Like, of course, two people is double the price that you usually pay. And then the prices were pretty high at that place. And I said to myself, oh my God, like, what did you just do? Like, in the middle of a launch, like, you don't know if the money's going to come in. Like, there's just so much, I was in a transition in my business too. I went from a very, very low month to not knowing what's going to come next. But you know what? I embraced it. And I said to myself, I'm meant to do this right now. I'm meant to rest. I'm meant to be regulated so that when I show up for my launch, I can be at the best self. And sure enough, this was one of my biggest launches I've ever had. I'm sharing this story with you because I see a lot of entrepreneurs, if female or male, it doesn't matter. I see them really push through a launch and they work and work and work, which is fine. I do that too. But your body also needs to be willing to receive, which is the feminine energy. Your body needs to be willing to rest. By me allowing myself, the massage is just a metaphor, right? The resting in your way can look very different. But that massage was a metaphor for me to allow myself to receive, to rest, to spend the money on myself, to be able to actually also call in the money that I want to. And it happened. It happened in the most magical way, but also in the most aligned way. which also leads me to what I said in the beginning. I took big aligned moves. So back to the point number one, where I shared how you are matched to your current results, I also had to take different action. So I remember at that time I hired a VA. She was incredible. I hired a VA, I hired support. I took action that I have never taken in my business before. And because I took that, of course, my nervous system also was going into, oh my God, we've never done this before. This is new. This is big. We have to be on top of everything. And that's why the resting was equally as important. The regulation was equally as important, because a lot of people, they expand in their businesses, but then they don't regulate themselves to that next level. They take big, bold moves and then they don't regulate, and then their whole system collapses and they're not able to actually either recreate what they've created or hold what they've created. Which leads me to my fourth point. The fourth thing, and this is a strategic thing, but also feminine energy thing, is to give a lot of value from abundance. So what I'm doing right now is I'm giving a lot of value from abundance. I'm giving this value because I am in the middle of a launch of my Embodied business program. If you haven't checked it out yet, check my program out there. I have a special price right now. I have, additional bonuses. If you've joined my Magnetic Money Challenge, you will know about these bonuses. But right now I'm in the middle of the launch. And this program is, again, I talked about this before. I love it so much. It's amazing. I get the best testimonials out of this program. But I'm thinking of, okay, this program is a high value space and it's a long-term commitment, 4 months, and it's an investment for a lot of people as well. And I also know that in order for people to trust me, in order for people to want to join this high level program, I also have to be willing to give people something first. And I'm not saying that it always has to go like this, but I know that people tend to sign up with me because of my values, because of who I am, because of what I teach, because of my energy. I can give this to people when I create some type of value. That's why I created my 5-day Magnetic Money Challenge, because this was a way for me to get a lot of new people into my world, but also for them to spend over, I want to say 7 hours. I think in total it was around 7 hours or longer, spending time with me in a room, getting lots of value. Like the value that I've given in this Magnetic Money Challenge is insane. And it's all for free because I've done it from an abundant space. I also really care about the people that come into my world. I want them to have a transformation. I want them to feel like this is not just another free stuff that they're joining and get no value from. I want them to have this type of experience where they feel so good about being in this space. But I also know the right people will want to continue staying with me and will want to actually do the work with me that will be required for them to get the actual results that they want. And so whenever I create free value, I really do it from an abundant space. And I'm saying this because there were times in my business where I would create free value, but it didn't come from an abundant space. And because it didn't come from an abundant space, I felt this grudge when people wouldn't sign up with me afterwards, because I felt like I've just given you so much and you're not signing up with me, which didn't come from the right feminine energy space. It came from a space of thinking it has to be a certain way, not getting the results that I want to, and then feeling really bad about that, right? Which is a very different energy to be in when you actually offer free value from this abundant state, knowing that you're amazing at what you do, while also inviting the right people to continue the work with you. And then the fifth thing, and this is actually also not a strategic thing, included with the nervous system aspect of the fear of being seen. Now, I spoke about this on day 5 of the Magnetic Money Challenge, but I want to bring it up again because one of the people asked me a question about why she's not being seen in the online space. And she has done a lot of the fear of being seen work. She's been really putting herself out there, which is amazing. And so she's actually being seen by more people, but her results are still not there. She's still not creating the type of results that she wants in her business. And so I had to look at her Instagram. I had to look at what she's creating. And one thing that stood out to me is that it felt way too generic. When I looked at her content, it was good, but it was too generic. It didn't emotionally touch me. It didn't make me feel anything. And I'm not saying that from a bad standpoint. I'm saying this from, I see so many people put themselves out there, but I'm not feeling anything when I'm watching the content. I'm not like, I can't wait to purchase anything from her, or I can't wait to continue watching her, or I can't wait for her next video to come up. When I was looking at that content, it was just like cool, but it was not something that stayed in my mind. And so I've given her the example of sharing your own story. And this is what I would do if I were to really wanted to grow my business, is I would really emphasize that story as to why you do what you do, and why you're the right person to help them. I gave you the example of when I started doing health coaching. My anchor story, the story that I would share quite a lot, was when I had really bad acne on my face. And it was on my face, on my neck, on my chest, on my back. At that time, I was in my early 20s. And I remember starting with these acne, starting to get these breakouts. And initially, I didn't think anything of it. And I just wanted to get rid of it. So I went to another doctor. I went on pills and creams. And my mom was going with me everywhere, helping me, spending all this money on me. And at some point, I became extremely frustrated because it's been now a year or two that I'm trying to figure out this issue. And it wasn't even about the acne anymore. It was about the way that I was feeling. If someone would knock on my door and me not having makeup on, I wouldn't open the door. If I was in the sunlight and I had so much makeup on to cover it, and of course you couldn't cover it because these were huge bumps on my face, I was so self-conscious when the sun would shine on me, I would hide. I wouldn't go on dates with men. I would literally hide myself. I would cry every night. I would cry and I would be so frustrated because I would try it all to make it go away and nothing was working. I just shared a snippet of what it felt like for me, my feelings, what I was going through, what I was thinking. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss. Share that story. Share your thoughts. Share what you were going through. Because the thing is, I can guarantee you another person's going to watch you and is going to be like, oh my God, I feel her. I actually feel what she's going through. I actually feel her story because I see myself in her. And that's the thing that has really helped me not only grow my business a lot, I just became myself more and I allowed myself to bring in these emotions into my storytelling, which also, of course, helped me. It allowed me to be seen by more people. It allowed me to actually put myself out there in this very powerful way. And so with that being said, these are the 5 things that I would do if I wanted to grow my business today. If you feel like I want to go deeper with Jess, I want to work more on these pieces with Jess, or I want to actually regulate my nervous system, unblock my subconscious blocks, do the inner work to elevate myself to the next level in my business, Embodied Business is the place for you. I created Embodied Business because when I started my business, I didn't know anything of this. And I didn't realize what a spiritual journey my business is going to be. I didn't realize that the moment I started my business, I was facing all these fears, all these insecurities, all these shadows, all these traumas that I wasn't aware of before. And they came through to me while creating my business. And if I would have been part of Embodied Business, of a program that I've now created based on what I needed back then, my success would have exploded in my business because I would have had the right support and I would have had the right guidance and tools to be able to support myself through the growth in my business. So this program is really for you if you feel like you are at a level in your business that you know you could go much further than that. You feel like you deserve to be seen by more people, you deserve to make more money, you deserve all these things, or you feel like maybe it's not even about deserving, but you have this like knowingness you're playing too small and you want to play bigger. That's who Embodied Business is for. And I'm going to help you get there. So if you want to sign up, the link is down below. If you do have questions, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I do have a couple of spots open for a free call this week if you want to connect with me and see if the program is the right fit. But with that being said, if you like this type of content, I would really appreciate hearing from you. Subscribe to the channel, of course, if you like this type of stuff and you don't want to miss anything that is coming up. And with that being said, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here and watching this video. Take care. Bye-bye.